Welcome to Jennifer with Coffee, a mindset podcast for people who are looking for real change. I'm Jennifer Lauer, writer, yogi, and fitness fanatic. Lately, I've been having lots of coffee meetups, long, honest conversations that delve into mindset, identity, choices, and habits that shape our lives. I kept thinking how I wanted to share these conversations, so here we are. Each episode moves in 3 beats: an inspirational story, an interview with thinkers, builders, athletes, and artists, people who want to share their own transformations. And we'll end with a brief meditation to practice calming the nervous system. If you've been connecting with the stories and conversations here, I've also written some fiction that explore emotional spaces. One is an AI dystopia, and the others are part of a paranormal mystery series. So if you're ever curious, you can find them on my website, jenniferleelauer.com. Have you ever been trepidatious about being yourself? Like fully 100% encompassing who you are, who you want to be? I have. And I've been thinking about sometimes being yourself is the hard choice to make. When I was younger, I would overthink what being myself meant to other people. I was very careful not to step on toes, offend someone, be too loud, be too bold, be too sensitive, basically being too much of anything. I recognize part of it is just getting older and experience and wisdom sort of coming into your own as you look at your life and when you're reflective of where you are and who you want to be. So for me, all of those things that I used to think have kind of gone away. Now, they didn't just disappear from my mind, but I've decided to deprioritize all of those feelings, because I think the most important thing for any of us is to just be so vibrantly ourselves. What I've come to at this point, and I'm open to the fact that I can change my mind many, many times as I learn and grow. It's my number one character trait is learning. I have noticed that part of what we're here for is to discover the potential of who we are. There is no other person on this earth that is like you. You are unique and original. You are built of the stories of your life, and you are built with every single tiny little thing that you need to be exactly who you are. And I think for a long time, I expressed myself in the response to others, on the periphery of others. And I feel like I am a better role model for my children the more I lean into the potential of myself and not what I could be for other people. I feel like I can show them how all of the things that make them uniquely them are their superpower. What that looks like is not overthinking anymore. I feel like I no longer operate under the rules of how I'm perceived by someone else. I just want to be as loud and true to who I am, because I am singular as you are. And you need to be exactly who you are, because that is part of our purpose, to figure out who that is, to experience who that is. Because when you are truly yourself, you contribute to the world in a way that no one else can. When there are things about you that are completely paradoxical, which is something that I find. I have some disparate interests. I'm learning to embrace all of the aspects of myself, and I encourage you to do the same. I kind of am looking at all of the different parts of ourselves as like the ingredients in a recipe. They make this cake that is you. Eggs are very different from vanilla bean, which is very different from flour. I guess that's what I'm saying. Remember to embrace all of the really different parts of yourself. It's so freeing when you're not trying to make your eggs look like vanilla, because that would be more comfortable with someone. Let the eggs be eggs. I don't know how this cake analogy is working, but I'm trying to express that sometimes I feel like I'm all over the place, but all of those places are all me. We're all meant to just be ourselves in a really strong way. I very much enjoy being around other people who are comfortable with all of their eccentricities and embrace them and love them. Because when you love yourself, other people can love you. Okay, thank you. And now for our interview. Vicki Morris is the founder of Face-to-Face Marketing and V Renee Consulting, where she helps entrepreneurs and organizations develop data-driven marketing strategies that build stronger brands, deepen customer connections, and drive growth. With experience spanning startups, cybersecurity, legal, retail, and other industries, she specializes in turning complex ideas into messaging that inspires action. A passionate advocate for women in business, she's served in leadership roles with the Women's Economic Development Council and the Women's Business Council of the Huntsville Chamber of Commerce. She was the first African American chair of the WEDC Foundation's Women Honoring Women event, leads North Alabama's BNI network, and founded Rise, a community dedicated to supporting and connecting entrepreneurs. Today, she's joining us to talk about marketing, entrepreneurship, and empowering women to build thriving businesses. Welcome to Jennifer with Coffee. Today's guest is Vicki Morris. Welcome, Vicki.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to the work you do now?
Well, I am originally from Atlanta and I got married and moved to Huntsville, Alabama. What brought me here to this work that I'm doing? I was a stay-at-home mom and I was looking for someone to hire me, but no one would hire me. Long story short, and we'll get into it a little bit more, I had to create my own opportunity. I had a marketing degree with engineering experience. And I moved to the Rocket City. We are kind of like Silicon Valley of the South. There are literal rocket scientists here. So,
Cool.
trying to find a job in an engineering field without an engineering degree that I was able to do that in Atlanta, doesn't quite work in Huntsville because they want an engineering degree. Finding my way around small business, and one job led to another, doing marketing for seminars that she was doing. People started asking me, can you do that for my business? Can you do that for my business? And light bulb, wow, people will pay you to do marketing. Who knew? I didn't. And so that's kind of what led me to where I am now.
Wow. So you got your degree in marketing and then you
Mhm.
worked as an engineer. What made that
Yes.
happen? What was the change there?
Yes. So that's a great transition that was happening for me. I am a big fan of networking, but I had an internship. And so every summer during college, I got to be in different departments just to learn about the organization and just get some experience under my belt before I graduated college. I got really good at knowing people and making connections along the way. My first manager, she was in HR. She and her husband moved up the ranks in the company. By the time my senior year rolled around, they were transferred to London, England. But Lori and I had kept in contact. The company is an engineering rich firm, and so they were moving more into hiring engineers. I didn't have an engineering degree, didn't have time to go and get an engineering degree before I graduated. I called my friend Lori, who is now the director of North American engineering for the company. So I
Wow.
told her what I wanted to do. I wanted to stay with the company. And she said, okay, I want you to stay with the company. You're a valuable asset. We've invested a lot into you. I can arrange for you to have the interview, but I cannot guarantee you the job. So I was like, okay, that's all I need. The interview. I interviewed. I had a job offer as a systems application engineer with a marketing degree.
That's great. What do you think was the piece in the interview? Did you know to highlight your experience with the company?
So I was a part of an internship organization called Inroads, and they focused on teaching students how to network, how to ask the right questions, how to build relationships so that you had a ladder up. So you were always having mentors in upper management. And so they can point you in the right direction. It's like, all right, Vicki, I had a lot of help, but I curated that along the way.
That's such a good example of how you should treat your career, focusing on where your opportunities are, being flexible. I mean, you're already proving yourself to be thinking out of the box. That's a really great skill to have.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about a time in your life that you manifested a transformation beyond that one? Is there something that you want to share with listeners about when you start as one version of yourself and become the next version of yourself?
Yes. So moving to Huntsville, have all this great success, and I'm a marketer and I got an engineering job and nobody's gonna hire me. This is an engineering rich town. There are literal rocket scientists here in Huntsville. They're not gonna hire this little fresh kid with a year of experience and a marketing degree in an engineering world. That transition turned into, okay, we can't find a job. You just got married. Let's start a family. We had two boys. I was a stay-at-home mom. I went from all of that and I'm a stay-at-home mom. And I'm all in. I'm all into it. I am such a great boy mom. I have a great relationship with my boys who are now 29 and 27. They both got engineering degrees. So that was a big transition. I have all of this energy, all of this knowledge of what I can do. And what I put that to, I learned to garden. I learned to can. I learned to sew. I learned crocheting and knitting, all kinds of different things. We made dinner from the garden, putting all of that energy and that inquisitiveness into doing things. You have the possibilities all within you to do the things that you want to do. I can do hard things. That's what I wanted them to walk away with. And I had to model that.
And so, at what point did you move from stay-at-home mom to deciding to get back into your career?
I started trying to dabble into the employment world. I was faced with, oh, you have a gap on your resume. Oh, I don't know what happened in these 15 years that you were at home. It's like, okay, that became a problem. So I was only being offered clerical positions that didn't even require a degree. That's all that was open to me. So I wanted to do something. I had all of this time and energy. Entrepreneurship, the only viable option for what I wanted to do. I did the clerical job for a while and I did it really well. I was more efficient at it than they were prepared for. That didn't quite work out.
Overqualified.
Yes. It's like, stop, slow down. You can't do this fast. They just didn't have the systems and infrastructure for that. And that was a blessing in disguise. It's like, okay, this is not the position you're meant to be in. So I just kept looking and kept finding what I needed to do. And I went back to my roots of networking. I got in contact with my local chamber of commerce, start going to events, met entrepreneurs, met people that needed what I was doing. So corporate world may not have been right for me. Small business world, oh, now that's where it's at. That's where things were happening for me. And that's where things just really skyrocketed once I immersed myself in small business world.
So you had to create your own position
Absolutely.
out of your skills. I mean,
Yes.
I think that that is it's a great permission, I think, for a lot of women who go from being very capable business women to
Mm-hmm.
becoming a mom and devoting themselves. Stay-at-home moms have so much to offer the workplace, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
running several businesses at the same time. I think
Yes.
entrepreneurship is actually a very well suited path for a lot of us. I think it's good for other women to hear that you could go from having this big career, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
ambition, and
Mm-hmm.
transitioning to family and transitioning back into your career. Let's get into exactly what your marketing career is now. What is your client base like? What do you do for them? What is your goal? What are your dreams? Tell me all the things.
Yes, yes, yes. So my clients are typically business owners who have tried marketing. They've tried something and it worked for a little while. And then their company grew and now they need something bigger, faster, better, stronger. But they don't really know what that is. These are companies that have probably hit a plateau on marketing. It was working for a while and then it wasn't. They were doing social media, the algorithm changed, and they don't know what else to do. They don't have a steady pipeline of new business coming in. So I have worked with auto dealerships. I currently work with the National Space Club. These are NASA headquarter organizations. And so they're one of my clients. And it's actually kind of one of the most fun clients because we get to be in meetings with the astronauts and see videos of the astronauts and all the cool things there. But what I do with every client, regardless of industry, focusing on helping them fine tune their message, who their client is, what the client's problem is, and what my client can solve, the solution that they can deliver, the outcome they can deliver, and finding the most interesting, most laser focused way to present that. And so that can come across a strategy. I focus on what are your goals? Where do you want to be? What are you doing now? What should you be doing? Getting all of that information. So now we can put together your website, your social media, and put a strategy behind it, build an email list that builds in a pipeline. So I put that infrastructure on any business and it works.
That's interesting. Do you have an example of, it could even be just like a national company. It doesn't have to be one of your clients, but just like an example of where someone has improved their marketing, where someone has become more strategic. Like, what is an example of good marketing versus when do you know you've plateaued, or when has a company gone from A to B? Like, what's an example of
Yeah.
that?
Hardee's, when they did the milkshake commercial with the cows and all of that, borderline raunchy.
Okay. Yes. Oh,
Oh,
right. Like sexy cows.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. They were just doing stuff to get attention, just throwing spaghetti on the walls. Like it backfired on them because their target audience was offended by the content. Who is their target audience? Families. Why do I, as a mother of small children, want my children watching your commercial? So they lost business. They had to pivot and course correct. Burger King did the exact same thing. The Creepy King, you know,
That's right. I forgot
yeah,
that.
they dial that back a little bit, and everybody was calling it the Creepy King and went back to their origin. Have it your way. That's what made them stand out against McDonald's. And so those are strategic moves. What makes you special? I always ask every client, what are the things that make you unique in a crowded market? I don't just, take one paintbrush and sweep the same paintbrush over every client. I find out what you are particularly good at, what your superpowers are, and amplify them. And 9 times out of 10, the client does not actually know what their superpowers
I
are.
do have a question. You were talking about finding the thing that makes your business special. What is something that you could think about that would point you in the direction of what you do that's special? Because like you said, a lot of businesses don't know what it is that make them special. What is one tip you could give for people to start thinking about what is it that makes my business special?
The thing that most people don't even think about, ask your top clients, why did you come to me? So as a marketer in Huntsville, Alabama, there are, maybe 20, 30 top marketing companies in the area. But the clients that I have came to me specifically. They could have gone to anybody else that can do kind of the same thing. But asking your top customers why they came to you, that's going to give you so much gold. And you can turn that into content and you can amplify that, double down on that. If they say, okay, Vicki, I like the authenticity that you bring. I like that you like to do the research. Oh, okay, that's what you like about me. Okay, then let's double down on that and find out more things that we can do that are going to reach people just like you. What organizations are you a part of? What networking events do you go to? What newsletters do you subscribe to? How can I find more people like you and have create a lookalike audience, people that value the same things you value, and they're going to be impressed with that trait about me that you were impressed with. That is one way to really grow your audience and something that you can find out more information about what's great about your company by asking questions of your top clients.
That's terrific advice. Okay, I also am curious when you are going through these transformations in your life, what was an obstacle you look back at and you think either that kept me back longer than it should have, or there was something you would have done differently? I love to hear how each person problem solves those things.
Yeah, at the time that I was a stay-at-home mom, it felt like society just passed me by. Dealing with the internet, those are things that were obstacles. I let people's impression of what I could do, and oh, you're just a stay-at-home mom. hearing that and that mindset, I was allowing people's interpretation of what my worth was, what my value was to land on me. And I started believing that. I was feeling that my only value was to the two little boys that I spent all day, every day with. Beyond that, I didn't have any value. So that was an obstacle I had to overcome. I remember telling someone that I forgot that I was smart. Your whole world is them, and you forget that you actually have a brain, that you're smart. You did some things before then. So overcoming that to allow that to come back to fruition, that was one of the toughest obstacles. And even still to this day, I have to remind myself, it's all right, you are smart. You got the stuff. You can do this.
That is just really moving to me because so many women shortchange themselves. And the most important, really consequential job that you have as a mother is to love your children. Hearing you say that you forgot you were smart.
Mhm.
Oh, it made me a little teary. I think that a lot of people are going to relate to that feeling, be reminded by your success now. The stories we tell ourselves can be some of the biggest obstacles. How did you get beyond that voice that was telling you things have changed on the internet? I don't have these tech skills that I might need to have a business. Did you say affirmations? Did you read a book? Did you have really supportive friends and family? What was something that you used to overcome that obstacle?
I had to remember you have a marketing degree and you got an engineering job. You already did this. So I had to remind myself those things. And I did do a lot of introspection. I started listening to podcasts of other women who had similar stories. I built a community, maybe not people that I could reach out and touch, but people that I could listen to. I'm not as alone and isolated as I think I am in my mind. So I would read a lot of books, and it may be weird, but Scarlett O'Hara, I love Gone with the Wind. Scarlett O'Hara is who I relate to. This chick went through all kinds of heartache and hardships and downfalls, but she found a way to get back to the top and scratched her way to the top. And she did what she had to do to survive. I'm a Southern girl and, I'm Southern through and through. But just reminding myself that, yes, that's a fictional character, but she came from the mind of Margaret Mitchell. And Margaret Mitchell drew on people in her circle, real people, to create this character. So I had to look at myself outside of myself to find that strength. Prayer is a big part of my life. And then surrounding myself with positive people, pour in positive things in my life. And I do listen to affirmations. I do breath work now. I go work out. Yeah, because you're always going to hear that, okay, you're not good enough, the imposter syndrome and all of that. I decided I am going to create a lifestyle of feeding myself positivity. When you start hearing that little voice that says, oh, you're not good enough anymore, that positivity, that breath work, take the time to stop, acknowledge what you're feeling and what the truth actually is, and move forward with your day.
I love that. I just want to reflect to you that you're having a full circle moment right now
Oh,
because
yeah.
you were listening to podcasts of other women who inspired you to
Yes.
become your best self. And now you're telling your story on a podcast. And I hope you're going to be that voice for other women.
Yes. And when I need to pick me up, I'm going to have to go back and listen to this episode.
And the best part is we do breath work at the end of every episode. I am curious if you have any advice for someone who is interested in working in your industry. What about somebody who wants to do marketing like you do?
I would tell people to go about it completely differently than what they think. Go to networking events, meet different people, business owners, and ask questions about their business. Being inquisitive about who they are, who they serve, the solutions that they offer. How did they come about to this? And then you can start thinking about ways that you can help them multiply their efforts. So when you can reach out to someone and you built that relationship with them in person, on social media, at events, when they're sponsoring events, they're having events sponsored with the Chamber of Commerce, you're there. When they're needing someone, it's like, man, we really need a great social media person. they're thinking, I just need somebody to create some graphics and post some stuff on social media. But if you've been following them, you know what strategy can work for them. If you can make yourself valuable to them by the insight you can bring that's going to accentuate and multiply their current efforts, you make yourself much more valuable. And you don't present yourself as a marketer, you present yourself as a communication strategist. Marketing is a very big word that means so many different things. But if you narrow that down and say, I'm going to help you communicate your message to your target audience and help you reach more people in your target audience that you don't already have a pipeline for, that's a massive statement, much more so than I just want to be a marketing person for you.
Yeah, actually, you just hit on something really interesting in marketing. I do feel like that is such an all-encompassing word. Can you tell
Mm-hmm.
us the difference between marketing, public relations, and brand messaging? Because
Yes.
they all sound kind of related, but I'm not really sure what the differences are.
Yes. So, and I think they all are related, but they're very different things. So, public relations is how you relate in public. So, if you're doing, there's a crisis that happens at your company and the news media is there, the public relations person is going to get out in front of the story and control the narrative and make sure that you're acknowledging whatever may have happened and then telling the rest of the story. They're curating, helping to curate that content, not hiding things, but being strategic in how the company is being perceived. Branding is what people see when they encounter you. So I have two businesses. When I'm out and about, I have t-shirts that have my logo on them. I literally have a t-shirt with my logo on it right now that I'm wearing. So that's part of branding.
That's very Alex Hermosi of you. I need to get a Jennifer with coffee
Yes.
shirt.
Yes, yes. And so branding is also color psychology. You're looking at my office and you can see all the purple in here. Purple is my favorite color, but you will not see that in my branding because purple does not resonate the emotion that I want people to feel when they encounter my brand. My brand colors are navy blue, gold, and white. So it implies luxury, sophistication, clean, simple, clarity. Those are all words that I decided I want people to feel when they encounter my brand. And when I did that color psychology, those were the colors that came up. That's how I chose my brand color. That is branding. Marketing is tying all of that messaging together so that it attracts your target audience. Means you need to know who that target audience is. You know your SWOT analysis, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats. You know who your competitors are. You know what their strengths are. You know what your strengths are. And you control that messaging. That is what marketing does. And that can be manifest in your website, your social media, the colors that you wear, the messaging, the talking points when you do presentations, when you do social media or anything. That's all marketing. I have a whole presentation, a whole workshop on the sales cycle or the buyer journey or whatnot, because they're different stages and they call for different tactics within each of those stages. But all of that is a part of an overall strategy based on who the client is and what you want them to do.
Okay, so that is a great transition into how would someone do said workshop that you have? Where can they find all of your information, your workshops, your everything that you have? Give it to us.
Yes, yes. So you can find me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, Vicki Morris or Vicki W. Morris, and it is Vicki Morris on LinkedIn. I also have a website, The Renee Consulting. All of my information is there. And if you scroll to the bottom, you can join my email list. And the big thing that we do, we have a program called the Multiplier Circle. And this is where all the things that we've talked about today, I help businesses do. And this way we do it in a community. It's online and we're working together. I do it with you. A lot of business owners are doing well and they have an idea of what they need to do with marketing, but they kind of need somebody to guide them, kind of hold their hand through it. They want to do it, but they just want somebody to tell them, okay, don't do this, do this. Try this, don't try that. That's what I do in the multiplier circle. All of my seminars that I've ever done are in the circle. You can download them and watch them at any point in time. All the books that I've read that add into the strategy and structures that I do, I have a book list there. We talk about all those things, and we talk about all kinds of things in marketing like AI. It's ever changing, how to implement it and be efficient with it. I give you strategies on how to tool stack AI. And we talk about that in the multiplier circle. So, yes, you go to our website, and that is the big call to action button in the upper right hand corner of the website as soon as you get there.
I think that's so helpful having a mastermind group where everyone's being helped with the marketing of their company, even if their company is completely different than yours. Just being in the room while you
Mhm.
hear people problem solve and strategize for their company, I find that at least really helpful for me when I hear other
Mhm.
people figuring things out. Because sometimes it's hard when it's your business baby.
Mhm.
It's harder to hear. You maybe aren't sure what questions to ask. I actually think one-on-one has limitations, but when you're in a mastermind group like that, you are learning what you need for your company. Also, you're meeting all of these other entrepreneurs who you can
Yes.
utilize in your network.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it ties in a few things that hit my buttons there.
Okay, well, this has been a great conversation. I thank you so much,
Yes.
Vicki. And we end each episode with this very important question.
Mhm.
How do you take your coffee?
Aha. So I had my coffee this morning, and I use coconut milk and stevia in my coffee.
Ooh, and are you like a dark roast, a medium roast? Do you have like a flavored coffee?
When I'm just feeling fancy, I love pecans and praline Starbucks coffee. I love
Mm,
that brand. It just smells delicious in the house. Hazelnut is one of my favorites. Yeah, so those are my two
that's a good
go-tos.
choice. I'm a fan of the hazelnut myself. I love a hazelnut iced coffee. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's a good one. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much. I've loved
Yes.
chatting with you.
Yes, this has been so much fun. I'm so glad we got a chance to do this.
Same. Today's breaths come as a daily moment of solitude. If you haven't taken a moment today to be in your body, this is your moment. Let's take an inhale and exhale, releasing any tension in the body, feeling every little bit of the breath. Next inhale, feeling the belly expand, the lungs expand, your face, your heart filled with air, and exhale, letting all of the breath out, feeling the belly contract. And we'll take one more breath. Inhale, feeling your whole body fill with air. Be present inside your body in this one moment. And exhale, slow and in the flow. May your day be filled with solitude. Thank you for listening to Jennifer with Coffee. Follow us on Instagram at Jennifer with Coffee and on Substack. This has been a Kings of Content production. Music by Oreo CC.